Welcome to another video on Back of the Net, and as you can see, a familiar face with me, Tom Jordan.
Hello mate, how are you?
How are you, buddy? First time in the flesh.
Very
cheers.
happy, yeah,
How's it going?
cheers. Yeah, all good.
We're here in the Rope and Anchor in Poole, and as you may know, if you're a subscriber to the channel, a £50 voucher for this very place is one of the prizes for the Funnel fundraiser, and it's going to be closing soon. You can also win a round of golf with Harry Redknapp and Tony Funnell, Superstore voucher, a bottle opener, and you're helping a good cause at the same time. I'll give you some more information about that at the end of the video. But Championship, mate.
Yeah.
Next season.
Set now, innit? It's settled in now.
We're going to enjoy it, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What can you do now? Didn't want to go down, but now we're here. We'll enjoy it, and I think it'll be really interesting because we really don't know. With obviously the manager change, where we're going to be. We could be right at the top, right, but it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it.
And there are lots of soulless bowls in the Premier League where fans are treated more as customers, and in the Championship you get that sort of diversity. So this video is all about ranking the away day experience. So it could be the nightlife, it could be the journey, it could be the stadium, it could be the fans, but we're going to do a tier list of all of the other 23 clubs in the Championship. There's a lot to get through, and as you can see on screen, there they are, and the tiers are good. We've got the middle one as being average, there's poor, and then the last one we'd rather self-isolate. So we're going to go through them in order, and if you want to comment on them, please feel free in the comments below, because we'd love to hear your thoughts about what you think. And we're going to do it in alphabetical order as well. So unfortunately, if you're Wycombe, we're going to be coming to you at the very end. You can skip forward, but you might want to hear our views about the other ones. And the first one, Barnsley. Have you been there before, Tom?
I've been there once.
You've been to most of the Championships.
I have. It's actually, I was saying to you before, it's actually only Coventry that have obviously got promoted that I've never been to their ground, but I still won't be because obviously they're sharing with Birmingham, I believe.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
But Barnsley I've been to once, and weirdly it was this horrible trip. I can't remember the pub being that great. It was a bit grim, it was an awful game, but then we scored in stoppage time. It was our first Championship season. Steve Cook from an Ian Hart corner, literally the last kick of the game. So it ended really high, so I've got like a fond memory of that a little bit. But the place, the pub, I can't remember the ground, it wasn't great. Gonna have to go poor. Gonna have to go poor, yeah.
Yeah, sorry Barnsley fans. I remember watching an FA Cup match there ages ago at Oakwell, and that was the time they had an open terrace, and it was just a very forgettable away day. I'm sure this season maybe we'll change our mind when we end up winning 4-1.
Yeah, I'd like to think that's a place we could get a good win, so it might be, do you know what I mean? You'd like to think.
St Andrews, that's a place where we've had a fair few decent wins when we've been in the Championship. I mean, one of them particularly sticks out, but you've been there, right?
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I remember going, we had them in a cup game, probably when we were in the Prem, I think. And
Did
we
you
won.
go for the 8-0?
Went for the 8-0, of course.
Mate,
and it was actually my birthday. It was my birthday, yeah.
Mate,
I was on the
birthday to
Jaeger
you.
bombs before, it was class. And then the season before was the 4-2 Ian Hart scored. And that was a great one. I'm tense to go, God, it's not that far.
Yeah,
not
true.
that far. I remember the pub's kind of like split.
Yeah.
So you've got a mixture, but quite a decent little atmosphere there, especially if a lot of these depend on like the weather and stuff. But I remember the kind of at the front, always good atmosphere. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in God because we've got great memories there, haven't we?
Yeah,
Birmingham?
we have,
Yeah.
and Tekele Ranti scored too. So
Exactly.
I mean, how can we put
Has
it
to
in
be
anything
in God.
but? So
Has to be in
yeah.
God.
And also, I mean, Birmingham is a city as well. I know that Aston Villa are their rivals, but whenever I've been to Villa as well, I've had a decent time. They're friendly people, and I know there's a divide in terms of the two clubs, but Brummies are generally pretty friendly, and I know it gets tense when they have their derbies, but yeah, great city. So Birmingham, that's in the God tier. Next, the ex-Premier League champions, Blackburn Rovers.
I've got a few weird memories with Blackburn.
Me too.
So personally, I went there when we lost from 3-2. I remember Josh King playing on the left for Blackburn and ripped Francis apart.
Yeah.
But I got the club coach, and it was a bank holiday weekend, and I don't know what time they left. And we got there when the whistle blew, which really frustrated me because you want to, spend a bit of time there beforehand. And we won a very good game. And then the other time I went, we won 1-0. And beforehand, I'd had a few beers. I was travelling up there. I'm on Twitter, and I said, "There's no way we're going to win today." And I said, "All right, put it this way: if we win today, I'll get a Bournemouth tattoo." And Lewis grabbed them 1-0. So Blackburn, some weird memories. I can't remember the kind of experience in terms of the pub and that being great. I quite like the stadium. I'm going to go average for Blackburn.
Average,
What about you? You said you've got a...
I think that's fair. I've never been there myself, so I can only I can only gauge it based on what you're saying, and
Yeah.
you know what, from a lot of people that I've been speaking to, I'd say that's probably about right.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's put that one in average. So there it goes on the tier list. That's where we're up to so far. So Brentford, this is going to be a different one, because obviously Griffin Park, there's a pub on every corner, and some amazing football memories for Bournemouth, historical memories, and they're a club that I kind of look at being on a par to us.
Yeah.
Really, and I felt sad really that they didn't get promoted in that playoff final. But as an away day experience, we don't know what it's going to be like at their brand new stadium, and it's a weird stadium by the looks of it as well.
Yeah, it does seem odd. It's like I say, this is going to be one that potentially we'd come back to and say, I would have moved that if I'd known.
Yeah.
And we don't know which way. Like you say, I think I would be looking at God from Griffin Park. I loved it.
Yeah.
And like you say, it's weird. You almost feel like for no real reason they're like our mate. I wanted them to go up. I feel like they're similar to us. We had that similar journey. So I think it's only fair to put them in average because we don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
I've got a feeling it'll be good.
Yeah.
Because you go to a new stadium, it's always quite good because it's a new experience. But I think it's fair to go average just because we don't know yet.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Brentford's going in average, and I find the colour of the seats a little bit weird. I think they've done it so it looks as if the stadium is full at all times, but it sort of has that sort of tournament in Moldova feel about it, that kind of stadium. So we'll see what it's like, and hopefully Brentford have lots of success in it, but maybe not next season. Bristol City, now this is an interesting one because I like Bristol as a city. I've got a fondness of their club as well. I think we spoke on the Brett Pittman podcast that you always track their results, and as a result you had an affinity with them. And when we went, the stadium looked a lot different to what it will be because it's had that redevelopment, it's got that feel of a big club, and it's a travesty really that Bristol's not had a top flight team really, but as an away day.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult. Like I say, I can't, like you say, it's probably changed since the last one. I can't remember what year it was, but I remember going on like a Boxing Day once. I think I drew. But like you say, the city as a whole, and I think because you've got a decent, if you wanted to, you've got that nightlife afterwards isn't too bad. I've been out in Bristol, it's not bad. And I agree with you, they're one of them teams that if I start like a Championship manager kind of season, I always go to, because I think Bristol deserves to go to the pub. I'm going to take them there. And I do have this weird kind of like for them, and I'm going to go good because I think if you want to stay up, go on a night out afterwards, great. When I'm not 100% sure on what the kind of stadium feels going to be like. Like I said, it's probably changed, but I'll go to that. I'm quite looking forward to that one actually.
Yeah, I've been had a few beers down the waterfront, and it's a relatively quick journey to get to. If you're on the train, it's a bit annoying that you've got to go east to go west. However, and also the roads are a little bit tricky going up the through like Warminster and Sturmston Marshall and through that way through Bath, and so sometimes it can be a bit of a nightmare in terms of traffic. But once you're there, it's I think good's pretty fair. Now we've got Cardiff. It's one of those newer stadiums. It's one of those kind of identikit bowls that many teams have got. Leicester, Southampton. As a city, down St Mary's Street, the nightlife is pretty good, but obviously the stadium's a bit further away from that. It's about a half-hour walk from the sort of main city centre, and you're walking through an industrial estate to get there, and not many pubs near. What was it, Harvester or something?
Yes, I think it's a Harvester they normally say for the away fans, and like I say, if you're not going kind of staying and going for the nightlife and stuff like that in the city, it's pretty poor in my opinion. I never feel like the atmosphere is great when I've been there inside the stadium, and like I say, I'm pretty sure it's like a Harvester-y type place that the away fans get put. So the whole, if you're not going on the nightlife, I would probably say poor, but then because you've got that option of going, I'm going to go average, because I think that kind of pushes it up a little bit, because it is a good nightlife if you fancied it. So depending on when you get the game and what time of year, you could potentially go, I'll stay out for this. And if you get a really good win at the end of the season or something, you've got that chance of smashing it up after.
And as a city, we've also got fairly positive memories in terms of 5-2 Lincoln. So obviously that's not the Cardiff City Stadium, but we've got fond memories of that going in the I remember I was going in a pub called the Philharmonic, but most Cherries fans were in the Prince of Wales, the Wetherspoons on the corner, and we took over that pub, great atmosphere. And I went to the Prince of Wales actually before the last game that we played there, and they won 2-0. It was a very emotional time because that was after Emiliano Sala. And there are a lot of Cardiff fans in there, a lot of good banter, but I think between average and good, but I think due to the stadium being a bit further away,
it's not kind of right in the city, is it? So and
Coventry City, that's not even in their city, and I mean, what horrible situation it is for them. And where was it? St Andrews they're playing in?
Yeah, I believe so. And like I said before, this is the only ground in the league that I've never been to, and I still ain't, because they're not going there. It's a difficult one because obviously we put Birmingham in God, so does that mean we should put Coventry there? But I think it's only fair to just whack them in average because they haven't got a ground. But I'd like to. I mean, I'd rather get promoted, but I'd like to be with them or play them when they get to their new ground. I believe it's just going to be the Rico again, and they're doing bits to it. But because never been there. But I've got a. Just off subject a little bit, I've got a sneaky feeling that Coventry might be a bit of a surprise package coming straight up. I think I watched a few games and I thought they look really good in League One, and they are still I remember when I first kind of got into football and that they had a few seasons in the Premier League, kind of late 90s, and I feel like they've got potential to be one of them teams that does like the back-to-back, that you see now and again. Just got a feeling they might be dark horses. I might be wrong, but I just got a feeling they might have a decent shout actually.
Derby County's another team that they seem to be the Championship bottle jobs really, like Leeds United until this season. But they've got a big fan base, decent stadium, and they're always there or thereabouts. Yeah. They're never really in the bottom half of the table. They're always they're consistently in the top half, but never high enough to actually get back into the Premier League. But as an away day, I've not done Derby.
Yeah, I've done Derby a couple of times. I think one of the times was a Tuesday night. I remember Jordan Hyde tearing us apart actually for Derby. Yeah.
Whatever happened to him?
Oh, I don't know. We could do with signing someone like that. What a player. But no, I think, like you say, Derby are going to come between 6th and 8th. I can guarantee that. But that's an away day. I actually thought a few times we went there. I don't know if it was when I went there, it was because they were near the top of the league. Yeah. But I remember thinking in the stadium, the atmosphere wasn't bad. I remember thinking they can be quite vocal at times, which is not too bad. We went to like a brewery, which wasn't a bad pub beforehand. It's not a bad trip. I'm going to go average again. I don't want to overdo average, but
that's fair enough. I think.
Yeah, so not the best night of either.
I'll tell you what. Well, the next one, alphabetical order, Huddersfield Town. I have bad memories of this. Premier League memories of thinking, it's going to be a 3 o'clock Saturday kickoff. That's doable. And then BT Sport have their say, and the fixtures come out 12 p.m. So the coach times, I think it was 2:30 from Weymouth, because obviously they go from that side, come through to Dean Court, which was a 3:30 coach. Obviously that's where I got on at the Vitality. 3:30 in the morning. You know what? I'm not going to miss the awful kickoff times of the Premier League. That said, towards the business end of the season in the Championship, there are some times that do you remember when we played Middlesbrough at home? It was 3-0. Brett Pittman scored a couple.
They had to come down for 12 o'clock kickoff, didn't they?
Yeah, 12 o'clock. So I mean, arguably that was worse than
for the Borough fans. God.
Yeah. But the Championship, there's less of that. But Huddersfield, I've got to say, their fans were the loudest that I've heard in a long time, and I actually didn't mind the experience inside the ground. The result was pretty poor, but obviously as it was so early, we didn't get to experience any pubs. But it's just one of those journeys, a bit like a Burnley journey.
Yeah.
You go into that kind of northern town, and we're probably going to end up playing crap and getting beaten by a team that is arguably not as good as us or pretty as us. And that maybe determines my opinion. I'm going to have to put us in poor, I think.
Yeah, I can see that. I've got a little bit of affiliation that my grandparents are from Huddersfield. Yeah. So when I was younger, I've been up there and kind of stayed up there and stuff like that. But and I went there when we battered them when the promotion season. But I luckily missed the one that you're talking about. Yeah.
That was a 4-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, 4-0. Yeah.
Pewee scored within about 25 seconds or something.
And it was Callum's competitive debut, and he could have had hat-trick and missed a penalty. Yeah. And I think Jan got the other one. So I don't mind it, and like you say, I actually think the fans are quite good. But the trip, and I'm happy to go poor with you there. Yeah. I'm happy to do that.
All right. So next we've got a team that in 2023 will be stepping inside their new stadium called Power Court, and I've seen some of the screenshots or computer-generated images of the stadium, and it looks very different, certainly different to what it is now. But Kenilworth Road, I mean, what an old school stadium! Yeah. It's a bizarre one. You're going down the Oak Road, terraced houses all the way, and all of a sudden, hang on a sec, there are some entrances here. What the hell's going on? Walking through someone's back garden in order to get into the stadium, and then when you do, on the left you've got that row of greenhouses, and on the right there's a relatively big stand. It's unique, and it's the kind of grounds that I grew up seeing, those real quirky ones. And for me, it's a really exciting away day, just for the stadium alone. But what about the experience before it? Do you know?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to have been a while since I mean, I did go there when it got called off. I don't know if you remember that one. Went up there and it started snowing.
Yeah.
But I got a feeling we were losing, and then we got to play again, so it was handy. But yeah, but in terms, I agree with you. It was one of the teams that I thought I hope they stay up because I quite like to go there. So but it feels like a long time since I've been there. So but it's one I'm looking forward to, and I remember always being like, I enjoyed that. So yeah, I'm going to go good for that one. I think a lot of Bournemouth fans would agree that they're kind of looking forward to that one.
And it was going to be interesting because Luton and Watford have got this rivalry, haven't they?
Yeah, of course they have.
And so that's going to be stepped up. I'm going to be really interested to see those matches. No doubt Sky will be televising those. So here is the updated list. This is where we're at so far. Luton Town there goes into good alongside Bristol City. I think we've got it pretty much right and nailed on so far. Here's one that I think might make the bottom category, Tom, but I don't know. Middlesbrough.
I think it's going, mate.
Long way away.
Yeah.
One thing I always wonder, I don't know if you know this or not, Southampton, obviously their main rivals are Portsmouth.
Yep.
I wonder whether Middlesbrough are like the kind of Bournemouth when Newcastle and Sunderland are at each other's throats, albeit, they're 2 divisions apart or whatever, but Middlesbrough sort of looked upon as the, pat on the head younger brother. And as fans and a stadium and the location and the journey and the pubs around it, not so great.
Yeah, no, and I feel sorry for Middlesbrough in the sense that they did get to a European Cup final not too long ago,
mad.
And they're getting patted on the head by Newcastle and Sunderland. They've done nothing. Do you know what I mean? In that time, they've been. But I think there's a little bit more of dislike from Newcastle Sunderland towards Middlesbrough than there is kind of Southampton. I think we're probably picking ourselves up a little there. But they are the main rivals, like you say, in Middlesbrough. So in that sense, I agree. But
it was mad, like those nights on Channel 5 or ITV, whatever it was at the time, like Ravanelli and
Janino.
Yeah, and there were a number of 4-3s.
They
in
were
the semi-finals,
exciting too.
And that's quite bizarre now to see where they're at. They're sort of one of the teams, aren't they? Like Derby County, Coventry. They got a very rich history. The Championship's full of teams like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, Middlesbrough in that capacity is decent, but unfortunately for them, they're a long way from us. We've done that. If they were down the road, it maybe wouldn't be as harsh. But at the end of the day, I've never remember the pub atmosphere and stuff being brilliant. You can go to Newcastle, but Middlesbrough's not a great night out. And it's a long way, so it's going in rather self-isolate because I ain't going there unless it's the last game of the season, which it probably will be for promotion, and I'll have to go. So I'll probably go. But I went there once, it was the 0-0, and Lee Tomlin was the best player on the pitch, so that says it all.
That does say it all. Superb. So there we go. There is our list so far. We are halfway through. We've done 11 of the 23 other teams. I mean, I suppose if we're going to do it, we're going to put Bournemouth in the God tier. If we were away fans, it's obviously God. Great stadium. There's a few pubs nearby. Yeah, you have to go into Boston, but the nightlife, the beach, come on. So we've done half of them. Bournemouth's in God, and they are joined by Birmingham in God, and look at that, Bristol City and Luton in good. And then, you go into sort of your Blackburns, Brentfords, Cardiff, Coventry, Derby. That's your list. But it's to be continued. So remember to subscribe, because tomorrow there is going to be the next half. Where's your team going to turn up? Who knows? But as we said earlier, we are at the Rope and Anchor. We're out of a beer. We're going to need to get another one in a minute. We timed that right, didn't we? And the Rope and Anchor are part of a mega prize package that we're doing for the Funnel fundraiser. It's raising money for the Forest Home Hospice in Poole that do end of life and palliative care. Really good support for families and patients, and we're aiming to raise £2,000 if we can. The link is down below in the description. It's afcbpodcast.com/fundraiser, and by entering, every £2 donation is basically one entry. So if you donate, say £20, that's 10 entries, and you can win a round of golf with Harry Redknapp and Tony Funnell, like 18 holes, lunch in the middle, as per podcast tradition, as Harry always does. A £50 voucher for this very place, the Rope and Anchor. It's in the heart of Old Town Poole. A great range of beers, ales, wines, great food as well. Check out their TripAdvisor, you can see how good it is. Owned by Cherries fans as well, and as you can see by these pictures, it's a rather lovely place to come and have a drink right next to the quay. And also there's a £20 AFCB Superstore voucher too. With a new shirt coming out, you might be able to spend your money on that. Plus, we leave the big prices till last. Haven't been produced yet, but it's the back of the net bottle opener stroke coaster. I'll bet you can't wait to get your hands on that.
I better get one. Do I get one?
Mate, yeah, you can get one. Yeah, as a podcast.
Can you sign it?
Can I sign it? And so it's one mega prize. So yeah, not bad, is it? And by donating, you're helping a really good cause as well. That's the link down there, afcbpodcast.com/fundraiser. Right, me and Tom are off to sink another, and we'll see you in the next video where we're going to go through the rest of them, including starting off Millwall. We'll see you in the next video.